Good afternoon, everybody. It's Chris Thompson here from Property Portal Marketing. And of course, I'm with the lovely Simona. Welcome to episode 7. This time I got it right. This time I didn't say good morning. I said good evening.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon. I said good afternoon. So I got it right with regards to when the episode will actually go out. And that's good. So I'll get it right. Do you know what, though? I kind of feel, I know that it's only 12:15, but I did feel about half an hour ago about grabbing a bottle of wine and just opening that and just having a glass. I think it's,
Chris, I
I don't
told
know
you
what it is.
somewhere in this world it's afternoon or evening. You are perfectly allowed.
Exactly. Somewhere in the world, it's Pim's o'clock, right? So,
Happy hour.
happy hour! It's not a cocktail. It's just strawberry and rhubarb fizzy juice or something. Anyway, it's quite nice, by the way. It's quite refreshing if there was any sun to enjoy it in, but there isn't, and we have to put up with the weather that we have. So, anyway, how are we doing?
We are doing Facebook ads today.
We're doing Facebook ads. I asked you how you were, and you told me what we were doing, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. I think it's just the way,
Otherwise,
that
I would
everyone's
say,
feeling at the moment.
Chris,
Just,
otherwise I would say I haven't seen the sun since last summer. I haven't felt warm since last summer. I am done.
still
I
in
need
winter time.
a
It's
sunny
weird.
holiday.
It's really weird. I don't know what it is. It's sort of what, 10th of July? 10th of July, and it feels like the 10th of November. It's really weird. But anyway, if that's an argument for climate change, I think it's quite clear that it's different to what it normally is. So anyway, we're not going to get onto that whole climate change route. Otherwise, I'm going to have people running through my door saying, just stop oil, all that kind of stuff. So save that for them. We're going to talk about real estate issues because that's what people listen to us for. So good stuff. So today, I've got something. I'm rubbing my eye now as well. That's no good. Hay fever, I think, more than anything. But yes, so we're talking about Facebook ads. In fact, actually, probably Meta ads in general, because when it comes to ads, even if you're going to be advertising on Instagram, it all works together. It all works through Meta. It's included. So I'm going to talk to you about that today, do's and don'ts, what you need to be aware of if you're going to put together ads. We're going to talk about the difference between Facebook ads Meta ads and Google ads. We're going to talk about the difference between boosted posts and ads in general. So over to you, really, Simona, on that one. Funnily enough, we don't have any stats for you today. Can you believe it?
No stats.
I know. How dare I?
Although metrics are involved.
Metrics are involved, but there's no, when it
No.
comes to advertising, right? There isn't a blueprint for it, if that kind of makes sense, for analytics, because everybody's going to get different analytics. I'm running campaigns for people in Spain at the moment, and they are head over heels winning in terms of results compared to running something in Turkey. So it's really difficult. You can't come up with a bunch of stats about that because everybody's different in terms of what they're going to get out of better ads.
Is different.
And of course, yes, as you say, every market is different. So you do. One of the things I think which is important to start with is the reason why you might want to run Facebook ads or you might want to run Instagram ads. And one of those things is obviously what we're trying to do, or what social media is there for, is to build you a successful presence online that isn't just your website. It's trying to take advantage of the amount of people who are on Facebook, as we spoke about a couple of weeks ago. I think it was episode 4, episode 5. No, it was episode 4, I think. So you can try and build your page organically, which is the best method in terms of building your page and building a successful profile, is to build it organically. But there are 3 main reasons as to why you might want to use advertising. So the first reason is to get more likes and followers on your page, which will help you to grow organically, because the more people you can get liking and commenting and sharing, the more active in the market you are, which will help you in terms of gaining followers and gaining likes on your page. Second reason is actually because you might want to generate more website visitors to your page, which will indirectly help you with SEO. But also you might want to direct traffic to your website or to a particular property just in general, to get people visiting your website rather than visiting someone else's website, for example. And of course, the third one is to try and generate leads through Meta. But that kind of is like an individual conversation altogether.
Okay, I'll make a comment here. They need to keep in mind that often the Meta ads are generating leads who may not be ready to buy it. So what we call top of the tunnel, top of the funnel. Sorry.
I don't want to set up. If there's one thing I don't want to do, it's set up a funeral parlor. Thank you. I would not be good in that, but
so compared to Google Ads, that we're gonna generate leads who are closer to making a transaction. The Meta ads will usually generate leads who may not be yet ready to buy. So everybody needs to keep this in mind whenever you're setting up an ad. Don't make your expectations very, very high. So you need to understand the exact way that ad is going to function and to set the metrics accordingly. To do the settings accordingly.
I know that you mentioned Google Ads there, and one of the things that I think is really, really important is if you're looking at one of the biggest comparisons between Google Ads and Meta Ads is that Google Ads will target people based on what it knows people are looking for right now, whereas Meta Ads will target people based on what it thinks people are looking for.
Plus, on
really,
Google
really
Ads, you're highly targeting, the ads are highly targeted based on keywords. On Meta, you are targeting using demographics. So
yes, exactly.
This is a big difference as well.
When you set up a Google Ads account, it's all based around sort of search terms. So if somebody's typing into Google property for sale in Spain, at that point, that person is definitely looking for property for sale in Spain. If your keyword is targeted around that, your ad's going to appear. The big difference with Meta ads, as you say, Simona, the big difference there is because of Facebook's algorithm, you are targeting an audience who might have clicked on a page that is related to property for sale in Spain. So they might have visited another real estate agent's page, or they might have visited a page about Javier, or they might have visited a page around, they might have visited a legal page which is dedicated to overseas properties. So Meta ads, as I say, is targeting people based on what it thinks they're interested in, based on their click history, rather than what that person is initially interested in right now. So there is a big difference in the quality of inquiry that you're going to get or that you're going to generate. And that actually, to be fair, that is the same whether you are running an ad for likes and followers, whether you're running an ad for traffic, or whether you're running an ad for lead gen. So I think one of the first things to do, as Simona very rightly says, is don't have too many high expectations going into this. By no means are we saying to you, don't advertise on Meta. Of course not. But you just have to be.
Just do it wisely and
do it. But you have to do it. You have to do it wisely.
Do it wisely and always check your analytics and basically track performance, so you'll know how to adjust. And you need to constantly monitor it. So on this note, I can say a few of the Meta ads do's. So basically, just to get started, we can do some do's and don'ts.
Please.
And we're going to start with the do's. First things first, use an interest-based targeting.
Let's do first things second. Instead of first things first, why not first things second? Let's do second things first.
Well, I need to stop it.
Oh, sorry. Go on, first things first.
Fine. First thing, use interest-based targeting. First thing. Second thing, consider specific location targeting. And third thing, prioritize videos over static images.
Prioritize
videos. So videos.
Oh, okay. Because actually, having run quite a few ads on Facebook, I actually tend to find that you get better results having run image campaigns than video campaigns.
I know. Lately, videos have taken a bit over the static images. And I'm saying that just because the videos where someone is talking directly to you and expressing an emotion or giving away a lifestyle, a desire, are always gonna take the place of a static image. And also always nowadays, let's say, you need to design your ad for sound of viewing as well, just because many people are gonna look from their phone when there is background noise outside, either from restaurants, cars, buses, commute, anyway. So your video has to be like a sound of viewing and still be compelling. So at least my advice would be nowadays prioritize videos versus static images as possible. So if it's possible to do a video and do it right.
I think the timing is important though, because where video is prioritized for sure is where you've got like somebody talking, or you're emitting an emotion, or you're describing an area or something like that. But I think where the problem lies is that if that video isn't engaging from the very beginning and also is longer than 30 seconds, it's not going to be as it's not going to be as impactful as a static image. So I think it's really important that if you are going to run a video based ad, is try and keep it less than 10 seconds, because otherwise people are just going to switch off and they're not going to watch it. Then
they're going to lose
they
patience.
they might even forget then that to click the action button afterwards. If they've watched that video and get bored, they might just swipe on. At least with a static image, they know exactly what it's about straight away and they can click on it. But
on this one, so even if you're using video or static image, just don't use generic stock images. So please, for everyone out there, don't use images that already contain a logo, that you're taking it from Shutterstock or any other portal out there. And also, when you're creating your ad, do not ignore mobile experience. This is very important. So keep that in mind whenever you're running your ad, that it has to be mobile friendly, so you won't lose on that audience there.
Well, actually, when you put the ad, when you're putting the ad together on Facebook, on Meta's platform, which is the ad platform, one of the things that you have to be mindful of is, of course, the mobile experience and the tablet experience. And when you get to that point where you actually build the ad, there's kind of 3 stages to it, and I'll go through those 3. We'll go through those 3 stages. But whilst we're on the topic, talking of mobile friendly or tablet friendly, there are sort of 3 sizes, if you were. One of those sizes is for mobile, one is for desktop, and then the other one is for tablet. And they will give you the 3 sizes, and you can then edit your ad to appear in the best sizes. Actually, one of the good things for doing that is Canva, because if you build your ad in Canva, you can automatically resize your ad for the various sort of bits and pieces on social media anyway. But if you don't do that, Facebook will automatically edit your ad to appear on mobile, but you might find it's not the way you want it to look, because the way that Facebook do it will be by their own algorithms, and it will just be bizarre. So if you are going to run an ad, whether it's video or whether it's static image, make sure that your content is the correct size for what you're trying to do. And it always go with mobile size, because ultimately, a lot more people are using mobile now than anything else. So yeah, that was a very good point there. So
also make sure you are using clear and visible calls to action, and please don't mislead the consumer in any way. Don't put out there clickbait headlines that are going to a landing page, or there's, I don't know, misleading them in some way. This is a big don't do that. So do not mislead the consumer or anything. Make sure that the landing page, it's a very high quality landing page, and do not spam your audience. I think this is just common sense, but I'm just going to say it. Don't make unverifiable claims. So even if you're selling a property, do not put out there something that does not exist, or like just invent something. And I think don't expect overnight miracles.
Don't expect overnight miracles. Definitely not, because it's not the way that that's going to work, for sure. But I think it's the same as what we discussed sort of 4 weeks ago, which was, regardless of whether you're running ads or whether you're just using Facebook for organic posting, it will take time to build up a successful audience. It will take time to build up a successful profile. And again, it will take time for people to trust your brand and for people to know who you are and want to engage with you. So don't expect things to happen straight away. It's not magic. I can't pull a bunny out of a hat. As much as I'd love to pull a bunny out of a hat, as much as I'd love to, dare I say, I'd love to have a lamp that people can run. Oh God, no! I'd be a genie. I'd love to be a genie, but maybe not the right analogy.
On that note,
oh God. Take that out the teaser.
On that note, Chris, do not be selling all the time. So basically, don't sell a product, the same product all the time to the consumers. You need to have high quality content, even for the Meta ads, and you need to focus on the benefits for the client. So if you're selling him something, sell him the benefits that he's gonna have.
The good thing is, I suppose the good thing is that when you're running ads on Facebook, there will, sorry, I keep saying Facebook, but it is Facebook and Instagram. There will be a call to action button that they will ask for anyway. And those call to actions will be like visit website, apply now, learn more, things like that. So actually you don't have to build that button in yourself. The button will be there for you when you build.
When you choose destination, You choose destination and website URL, and then you choose website and add a call to action. So these are basically the steps that you're gonna have.
Going into those sort of call to action things, they will differ based on the type of advert that you want to run and based on the sort of thing that you want to do. But one really good thing that was brought in, I think, earlier this year, was you were never really allowed to do this before, but Facebook brought in another goal which you could specifically sort of target people with, which was you can now run an ad on Facebook that targets, or sorry, not targets, but says to people, visit my Instagram profile. So if you want to build it's a traffic campaign that you have to run, it's an engagement campaign that you have to run, but you can get people specifically to visit your Instagram profile. So if you want to build your Instagram profile, you can run an ad on Meta that will allow you to do that through the engagement campaign. If I just very quickly run through the ad directive itself, because it can get relatively confusing, but I think firstly, if you do want to run ads on Meta, you have to have an ad profile set up. Definitely. So when you've got your business profile, you have to then go in and set up an ad profile. One of the really confusing things, or one of the really frustrating things, is that if you don't run ads through an agency, when you first set up your ad profile, you are fairly not restricted, but the threshold of payments is relatively low. So I've got a client at the moment, just as an example, who's new to the whole kind of ads thing, right? And every €2 that he spends, they're charging him for. So he's getting an invoice every day, which is, I know it's a little bit frustrating, but that's basically because obviously as a new advertiser, Facebook want to make sure that you're not going to just run up a bunch of ads and then never pay them. So bear that in mind. It's not a bad thing. The threshold will automatically increase the longer you advertise with them. So for example, with us as an agency, we've got a pretty big threshold before we actually have to make a payment. But just on that, if you do run ads through an agency, you have got two options, by the way. You can either pay the agency, that you can give the agency the money for your ad and obviously the setup fees that they charge, or if you want to use an agency, you could use a design agency to design your ad, and then you can run the ads through your own ad account. You've got a number of options there. But anyway, before we go through the actual setting up of the ad, let's very briefly talk about boosted posts and Facebook ads, because there are two different things here.
Different things. So just to mention, just a short mention, if you ever think about boosting a post and you know that you're gonna do it, when you're doing the post itself, make sure that it's gonna be mobile friendly, SEO friendly. Keep the description very minimal. Just keep in mind, if you're boosting that, it is going to appear just like an ad. So usually the user is seeing the first 2 or 3 line maximum. So there's no point in putting a very lengthy description. It's not going to do any good for anyone. So keep it within a catchy title, a call to action, and about like intensity, like something that will be eye-catching for them, a sentence there, very brief. And then your post is going to qualify for boosting, because sometimes, Chris, you get, when you're posting, you do get the notification, this boost doesn't qualify. This post doesn't qualify for boosting. And then they're going to wonder, why is that?
Yeah, so, content on an ad is key. Again, it's much like content in a usual post, right? When it comes to a usual post, obviously you have to make sure that your content is key. You have to make sure that your visuals are key. But I think when it comes to an advert, it's actually more important, because you're trying to catch somebody who isn't necessarily looking for that right now. You have to catch their eye. And there is, you've mentioned it, you've basically taken the words out of my mouth. You have to catch that person within 3 lines, because they're not going to click on read more, because people don't when they're clicking on adverts, unless they're really interested in the product that you've got. They're not going to click read more. They're more likely to click on read more if it's a post than if it's an advert. So if it's an advert, you've got to keep it very short without all these kinds of descriptions.
We need to keep in mind that with Meta ads and Instagram ads, it's more about brand awareness rather than actually selling the specific property. So it's more about increasing the brand awareness and gaining interactive shares, likes, comments, distribution. So everything tags people. So you need to actually give them something that is beneficial for them. So
yes, you do. I think the main the main difference, just talking about boosting posts and actually physically putting an ad together, is that boosted posts are usually created within just a few clicks, whereas social ads, which is the ad process itself, require a few more advanced steps. So regular social ads will offer more formats and ad objectives than a boosted post. Now, as a business, you can benefit from both. So you can boost ads and you can do the social ads. The boosted ads will appear more for your profile than anything, whereas the social ads, you've got a lot more objectives, you've got a lot more people at targeting and things like that. But there's no reason as why you can't do both. Generally, with boosted posts as well, you don't have to spend a huge amount of money on that boosted post. You can spend €10 if you want. Whereas with a bigger ad, it's worth spending a lot more money. So go on.
No, and just as always, you need to be consistent. So do not set up a campaign and then forget about it and never look at your analytics and view what happened. So don't just forget about it. Or if you're doing a campaign, don't just run it for a month and then for the rest of the year, don't do anything. Or just boost a post twice a year and it is not going to have any effect. So you have to have a strategy for the boosting the posts and for the ads as well, meaning that you need to choose carefully what post you're going to boost out of all the posts you're doing within a week. Let's say choose one that you're going to and make sure it's basically coordinating with the ads that you're running. So when people see it, it will basically be coherent and it will be so don't boost a lifestyle post about a region and then your ad it's advertising houses for sale in the next neighborhood is not going to make any sense.
That's a good thing. But yes, as we've touched upon already, content is key in this whole thing. So good. So we're going to talk about briefly the various kind of ad campaigns that you can set up because they can be quite confusing. And in terms of real estate, only for me personally, there's only a certain number of these ad formats because there's so many ad formats that are actually going to work for you. Now, when you create an ad, they're going to ask you to choose a campaign objective. Now, the campaign's objectives, essentially what they've got here is you've got awareness, traffic, engagement, leads, app promotion, and sales. Now, of those three, you're probably only ever going to want to do the traffic campaigns, the engagement campaigns, and the lead campaigns. If you have, let's say you've got like a specific video, for example, and you want to increase video views or things like that, then you might want to go down the brand awareness route. That is really good for videos. But if you want to go down a static route, you might want to go more traffic, engagement, and leads. So traffic campaign is essentially what it says on the tin, which is it goes people to a website, gets people to websites, websites and landing pages, or Instagram profile visits on that one. And you can also send people to Messenger and WhatsApp and things like that. Engagement campaigns is where you try to engage with your audience. So that is perfect for running things like Facebook likes and followers and Instagram likes and followers. And then the leads campaign is where you're running direct leads to a specific form on Facebook. If you are going to run a lead generation campaign, then you've got two ways to do that. You can run it to a landing page or you can run it to a Facebook form. Personally, I think you actually get more engagement through the Facebook form than a landing page. And that's because I think people, once they're on Facebook, they stay on Facebook. And also if they have to go off onto another site, which is what the landing page format does, it takes people away from Facebook. It takes them onto a landing page. They've got to, then when they get to that landing page, they've got to switch back. They've got to wait for the landing page to load. They've got to do all that kind of stuff. So in terms of quality versus quantity, you might find that you get a higher number of leads through the Facebook forms, but the quality of the lead might be better through the landing page. So bear that in mind. But those are the three campaigns that you kind of run: likes and followers, traffic,
and honestly, the sound advice would be to basically run each of them. So don't just do one type of campaign and that's it. You alternate, you use them, you alternate, see which one is functioning better for your audience and for that specific call to action, and then go from there. So just don't stop at one. And that's it.
Yeah, definitely. You want to be running various types of campaigns throughout the year. Again, it massively depends on budget. And right now, at this point in the year, it's not, budgets are a little bit thinner because it hasn't been a great year, certainly in terms of what I'm hearing. There's agents that are having really, really good years, and that have had a really good 6 months. And there's also agents that have struggled the last 6 months. So it does massively depend on budget. But if you have got that budget available, it's much better to run sort of various campaigns throughout the year. So run a likes and followers campaign, run a lead gen campaign, run a traffic campaign. One of the good things that you can do is you can start running regen campaigns, and you can run funnel campaigns as well. So what you might want to do is set up some kind of funnel. So I'm doing this now. You might want to, yeah, exactly. You could start, let's say you want to do this. So you could start with a likes and followers campaign. Then you run a traffic campaign. And then what you do is you run a lead gen campaign to everybody that has liked and followed your page, right, within the last, let's say, 3 months, who visited your website within the last 3 months. And now you want to hit those people with a lead gen campaign in order to lead gen. So,
and to properly hit that people, use the tracking code.
When you say properly hit them, you mean give them yeah.
So this is very important. So before you click that publish button, make sure that you use the tracking, install the pixel code for tracking. It is very important.
Yes.
So if you haven't installed it yet, install that pixel code for tracking and then click publish on your campaign.
And then click publish. Yes. So in terms of a Facebook pixel, briefly in terms of Facebook pixel, because we'll probably cover this off in another episode a little bit more. But essentially, a Facebook pixel is a bit of code that sits on your website that will track somebody's actions when they're on your site. So as long as they are signed into Facebook at the same time as anywhere, whether it's mobile or desktop or wherever it is, that pixel will track certain actions on your website. And then that will then get stored in Facebook. It will get stored as an audience on your Facebook. As long as you've set up the audience, it will get stored as an audience. You can then hit that audience with a campaign. So a really good way of looking at it is if you're new to Facebook ads, you can run ads cold. I'm not saying you can't run ads cold. I'm not saying don't run any ads at all. Yes, you can run ads, but a really good thing to do is to make sure you've got a Facebook pixel set up. Whatever ad you run, you then can use that Facebook pixel to set up an audience that you might want to hit later on down the line. The other point that I was going to make is, and I think this is an important point, and I think, Simone, you'd probably agree with me on this, is if you are new to Meta, or you're at a point where your Facebook page isn't very good, or you're at a point where you're changing to a new marketing company or something, don't run ads, because your ads will be a reflection of your page. So if somebody's running, if you're an agency, a real estate agent, and you want to boost your Facebook page, but you don't post on your Facebook page regularly, so let's say you might do 2 or 3 posts a month, right? That ad is a reflection of your page. So it's like if I was to run, here's an analogy, right? If I'm a baker and I run an ad campaign to say, come and taste my cakes, and then I've got no cakes for you to taste, right? It doesn't make sense, does it? And it's exactly the same if you run a real estate agency. There's 0 point in running ad campaigns if your Facebook page is not full of really good content, really good images, really good properties. So,
and there's another situation, we do see it sometimes. So do not run Facebook ads through Meta, Instagram, if your website is not working properly or you have a problem with the website, because then all those people hitting the website are just going to bounce back. So don't do that. It's better to basically, if you run campaign, it's perfectly fine to pause underperforming ones, or if something happens to your website, just go in there and pause the campaign. That will be fine. You don't have to keep the campaign running if something is not working. So if you see that is not working on any website or any other, that just stop that campaign, pause it, and then just boost or scale successful campaigns that you do see generating leads. So
you've got to make sure that the end point, which is always you as a brand, is how you want it to be, because otherwise you're not going to get anywhere with it. So good. All right. So one of the things that we want to talk about, because real estate has changed a lot in terms of advertising and how you advertise real estate, is, and this frustrated a lot of people and it turned a lot of people off from using Meta. So I think it probably was about 3 or 4 years ago, Facebook changed their algorithms on how you could advertise things. And it really frustrated people. So Facebook had this new rule, which is if they feel that your advert is going to discriminate anybody in any way, they will reject an ad unless you put it into a particular category. Now, housing just happens to be one of those categories, which is really frustrating because 3 or 4 years ago, essentially, you were able to put together an ad that would be about real estate. You could target people from 35 to 65 plus, and you could target people just interested in the Costa del Sol, and you could run that ad. And you didn't have to put any categories, and you didn't have to do anything, right?
You can't do that anymore.
Which was great, because essentially what happened was you were able to target 3,000 people, just an example, instead of 3 million people, right? Then these new laws came out, and Facebook went, okay, well, I'm not going to let you do that anymore. You have to categorize it. Now, if you now categorize it as housing, effectively, Facebook now stop you from being able to target certain locations or certain age groups, which is stupid. It's really dumb, because what 18-year-old out there has got, £300,000 to spend on an overseas property? I mean, some will, okay, some, right, but a very fine and a very, very small number. All right. It really switched people off, because the problem with it now is essentially what you're doing is, rather than targeting 3,000 people, you're now having to target 3 million, because Facebook are basically saying to you, well, if you're running a housing ad, the fact that you want to now be very specific is essentially discriminatory against those people that might be interested in the property. I mean, it's crazy, right? It's totally crazy that they've brought these rules out. So you now have to be very particular how you now run real estate ads on Facebook. You can run an ad, even whether it's property or whether you are just running an ad about yourselves as an estate agent, or whether you are running a kind of a property specific campaign. You can run ads under the housing category. You just have to be prepared that a lot of the people you're going to be asked to run the campaign to are probably not going to be interested in your product, because now you can't run the ad to say, I only want to target people who are interested in the Costa del Sol. You have to run the campaign based around a Spain interest or a property interest. So if you're a Spanish real estate agent, you can't run an ad campaign to people that are interested in the Costa del Sol. Which is really, really frustrating, because you could do that before. Now, personally, for me, I don't think that's too important if you're running a likes and followers campaign, or if you're running website traffic campaign. But where it will be massively important is if you're running a lead gen campaign, because what you don't want to do is generate a whole load of leads of people that aren't interested in that product you have. And I get agents say to me, but Chris, the ads clearly states that I'm selling property in the Costa del Sol. The thing is, people don't read it. They don't read ads.
So look. This is a very, 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 very important thing to keep in mind. Yeah, we don't read. So you have.
We don't read.
So that call to action. No. People don't. Honestly, that call to action, that single title or that single sentence has to be catchy enough for them. You have 3 seconds, so literally 3 seconds to 50 seconds, but usually 3 seconds. Either you're focusing on a very wow graphic, like the image, the first opening of your video has to be something wow, or something in there that will catch their eyes, or you're gonna lose them. So you can, we did that sometimes. So we are putting, even with a lot of posts, and even though you're putting location and title, like the location, type of house, and price and reference and bedrooms and everything, you still get comments like, how many bedrooms?
You put it in the ad, you put it there, but it's still people ask you.
I had a situation where the price was the first thing there, like the price and then the type of property, and still one of the comments was like, what's the price of this property? Okay.
So it is frustrating, because I mean, and there's plenty of examples with it, that being one of them. But also, you put in the ad Costa del Sol, right? We have properties in the Costa del Sol, and still you'll get somebody commenting going, do you do Costa Blanca? No, we don't. It was in the ad, Costa del Sol. So it just
Yeah,
proves that people don't read, right? They don't read full ad, or they might see the visual and then just click
it's
learn
just
more.
our brain
It's just the way it is.
our brain has been
I
accustomed
know.
to process so many visuals and so
Yeah,
quickly that
yeah,
sometimes you basically read through the lines and you skip some important information, even if it's
yeah,
like staring you in the face, you're
yeah.
just gonna go blank.
You just go blank. You just go
So,
blank. And I think there are a lot of ads on Facebook, and I think one of Facebook's downfall is that they run a heck of a lot of ads, and just the algorithm that they have, because it targets people who they know have clicked on real estate or who they know have clicked on
yeah.
something. That because you target by click rather than by search, um, Facebook is the algorithm is automatically designed to target that person based on their click history. So if someone clicks on a page dedicated to real estate, guess what's going to happen? The next time that person goes on their feed, they might see 3 or 4 different ads within the space of about 5 scrolls. So that is one of Facebook's downsides, and that's why it's really important that you get your content right. Because if you get your content right, you can catch people's eye, and you can catch people with it. It's not all doom and gloom though, with regards to this whole targeting thing, right? It isn't. What you have to do now is you have to be a little bit more clever with the way that you're running ads on
And you
Facebook.
also have to create your custom audiences because you can do
And
that.
you've
So
got to create custom audiences as well. Yes. So if you're one of the key things, or one of the really good things about having that pixel is when you have that pixel in place, even if you run your ad and you're still being asked to put it into a housing category, when you run to that pixel and you run to that custom audience, even though you're still going to be asked to add it to the housing category, you still know that the audience you're targeting is the right audience for you, right? You're not targeting like a cold audience. You're targeting an audience that is already engaged with your brand in some way. So that whole housing category doesn't really matter if you're running it to a custom audience. It only really matters if you're running it to a cold audience. But the really good thing is there is a way around it. Now, you have to be clever about how you're running these ads, right? I don't want to give too much away because it's our business, but I'm more than happy to give you advice. So, you have to be a little bit clever now with how you run overseas ads in order to make sure that you can target the right people you want to target. Okay. So a couple of examples would be like free guide downloads. Get your educational guide on buying property in Spain or Turkey or Greece or the US. Or it's what you have to do now is be educational rather than promotional. Does that make sense? So
yeah,
if
I said
you've
at the
got like,
beginning, don't sell them. Don't focus on just selling all the time.
yeah,
You have to have
you
something
have
out there
to
that is
be
benefiting
exactly.
them. So
If you have anything mentioned within your description, so that's within your ad description, within your content, within your
call to
media,
action.
and they've only just brought this in, or your end point that is anything dedicated to real estate, Facebook will close you down. They will not let you run that ad. Okay. Hence the reason why I'm saying that Facebook um, forms are a really good way to go, because if it's a Facebook form, there's the endpoint is that form. There's no website that people are going to or things like that, and they won't. If you are running an ad and you've been really clever about what you put in the ad or the way that you've done the ad, and then you run the ad to your website, I'm not saying that Facebook are automatically going to go, oh no, you can't run that ad. What you have to do is you have to like target the right page. For example, here's an example. Let's say you're running a free guide download and you're running it to a landing page. Then that landing page has to be everything about the guide to download the guide. Okay. Or if you're sending people to your own website, send them to the URL of the website has to be to the guide page of that website, right? It cannot be to a particular property. If you're running a dedicated property campaign now, you're going to find it very difficult to target the people that you want to target. You have to try and circumvent that. And one of the ways that you can circumvent that is through the guide downloads or through the area guides, or like talking about areas rather than talking about property. Um, So yeah, you've got to be essentially what I'm trying to say is you've got to be a little bit more cleverer now in terms of the content that you advertise in order to try and get that targeting methods. You won't get those targeting methods if you just shove out a property campaign, because a lot of the time Facebook will stop you from running it if you haven't put that category in place. Now, sometimes you can appeal, right, against it, because Facebook's algorithm is essentially AI. It's a robot, okay? Talking of AI, it's a robot, and sometimes you can successfully appeal, but 9 times out of 10, even with the appeal, it's not going to work. So yes, you can still run ads on Meta, Facebook, and Instagram. Yes, you can get the targeting algorithms to work for you, but you have to be a lot cleverer with your content and with your ad description.
And plus, Chris, you have to set a realistic budget and to use like Facebook automatic bidding, at least for optimal results. Because on this part, if you're not setting the right budget, you're spending too much on a wrong campaign and too little on different campaign, then it's not going to work. It's where you monitor your ad spend and you adjust as necessary to maximize the ROI. So you test different ads variation to see which one resonates with your audience. And then you're going to experiment, of course, with different headlines and images and calls to action. It's just, you have to consider everything before you actually start to do it. Like, just don't go in there and say, oh, I can run an ad on Meta, take 5 minutes to go through it without paying close attention. And then you're going to wonder, well, I put the money in. Just because you're putting a big budget out there doesn't mean you're going to have the results that you want unless you're doing all the steps right.
Correct. We there is a reason why, for example, with us and probably with most other companies out there, there's a reason why we charge a setup fee, and that's because it is not as simple as just going to Facebook and putting in a 3,000 budget and shoving a load of properties on and seeing how you go. There is so much more of again with these things, there is so much more of a process to it. Talking of budget, actually, there's sort of 2 budgeting methods. One of those methods is a lifetime campaign budget, where Facebook will automatically they will automatically schedule your budget to run across certain days, popular times, and things like that. Or you can run a daily budget. Personally, as an agency, we tend to go down the daily budget route because you have more control over when to run your ads. You might want to run them continuously. It just leaves you more in control than leaving Facebook in control. I don't like leaving Facebook in control of anything.
I don't like Facebook at all.
I don't like leaving them in control. Even though they like, real estate is its own kettle of fish. We all know that, right? It's its own kettle of fish, right? Hence why I don't like leaving Facebook in control of it, because real estate needs its own directive. So when they say things like, oh, let us control your budget because we know how it works, I'm like, no, you don't know how it works, because you're telling me that I can no longer run ads to housing because I'm being discriminatory. So no, you don't know how it works, Facebook. So so the less control they have, the better. Hence why I tend to run daily ads, because I think they've got more control, or daily budgets, sorry, rather than lifetime budgets. But yeah, set that up. Look, you don't need to spend. One of the good things with Facebook ads and Instagram ads, I keep calling it Facebook ads, but it's Meta in general. One of the really good things, right, about running the ads is if you can get it right, or you can get it to a point whereby it's there or thereabouts, you don't need to spend a huge amount of money for it to be successful. For example, I always recommend 200, 250 euro spend, which should get you some really good results off the back of that. And it will depend on where you are. It will depend massively on what kind of campaign you're running.
But you haven't said to them if that is daily, weekly, or monthly. It's very important.
Oh, that's true. That's true. So that would be like your entire budget, and normally we would run that over sort of 10 to 14 days. Well, yeah. The minimum amount we would ever run that for is 5 days, but actually I recommend running it.
I mean, we can run it daily, no problem.
Yeah, if you have a budget 250 euro daily, I'll run it, but I don't. Yeah. Especially if you want like a short-term campaign, because obviously weekends are the best normally for running these ads. So if you want to hit a lot of people in a period of time and you want to run it for 2 or 3 days, again, you can spend €250 on that. But actually, I would much rather spread that out over sort of 10 to 15 days.
Okay, here
there is an argument that says, well, actually, just continually run the ad. But I think people will get tired of seeing the same ad. There is something known as I think ad
we
or
should
creative,
mention,
tiring creative or something. So
or at least I should mention a bit the type of like the content you can in an ad campaign. So if you're a real estate agent out there, of course you're gonna want to advertise the properties you want to sell, but you can also advertise open houses, and that can be a one-time off campaign to make the push for that specific day, specific time. You can advertise your services. You can advertise the regions you're covering, and at the end you can advertise basically the lifestyle in that area through your campaign, and then link that to
the lifestyle one. In terms of advertising the lifestyle one is less likely to get rejected than the property one. So with the property one, if you're going to run like a dedicated property campaign, which is like, oh, we've got an open house on this campaign, if you don't put the category housing, you're more likely to get rejected. If you do run a dedicated property campaign and you do put the housing category in, then you can't do the targeting you might want to target. So you really have to be fully aware of what your limitations are when you're running these campaigns, and things like that. As I say, it's less important to put the housing category in if you're running like a traffic campaign, if you're running a likes and followers campaign. It's more important if you're trying to run a lead gen campaign, because you still want that type of audience. Yes, of course, you want the right type of audience if you're running a traffic campaign, for example, to your website. But actually, if I'm getting, let's say 300 clicks a day on my website, happy days as far as I'm concerned, because I'm still getting some good traffic on the site. I'm still getting people. There's still people that are going to take a look and things like that. What I'd be more upset about is if I got 300 leads and all 300 were terrible. Do you see what I mean? So that the aspect of, or how you're looking at running those campaigns is going to be important. And it's always best to take advice about it, because again, you've got to be sure that you're spending the money in the right online areas. So good. I think 55 minutes. Look at that. That's one of our. We're under the hour.
Well, that's because we barely scratched the surface.
Yeah, I know. We barely scratched the surface on it, but this is what these podcasts are about, right? Is scratching the surface and trying to give our agents, or give agents out there, a more kind of in-depth understanding without going into too much detail on anything. So yeah, look, I think in terms of wrapping it up, do use Facebook ads and boosted ads because they can work for you. Be understanding of the type of results that you're going to get based on what you run. Don't go into it unless you've done some research beforehand on the types of ads, the types of audience, how each audience is going to interact with you. And lastly, most importantly, make sure you've got some really, really good content. No, I was going to talk about content, Simona. You should know that. Content. Okay, so 5 points. 5 points then. 5 points then. Do make sure that your content is bang on the mark. And obviously, yes, Simona, analyze. Analytics. Good. All right. It gives you some really good hints and tips and kind of things like that about meta ads. We will do something on Google ads, because again, that's a totally different game. But that won't be for a while. Next week, we're going to do a podcast next week on portals from a portal perspective. Which is going to be really interesting, because we're going to be able to talk to portals just about some of the questions that were picked up in episode 5 and episode 6 to a degree. And we're going to get to talk to portals about their responsibilities, about how they feel things are going, what more can they do for agents, what are they doing already for agents, pros and cons, all that kind of stuff. So that's going to be really, really interesting. We're hopefully going to get three portals on board on that conversation, 2 or 3, which would be really good. I know one of them coming already, which is good. So yeah, that's going to be next week. But yeah, enjoy your week. Any questions, please let us know, and we'll try to cover those off in the next one. At some point in the near future, we're going to do a live podcast. Yeah, which is going to be really good. I think we just need to come up with a topic for that, unless we talk about the market in general, which we could do. I'm going to do a podcast with Lyndon, who's recently joined us. So yeah, lots of good content coming out. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if there's anything else, let us know.
Ask us. We are here.
We're here. Hello.
We promise to drink our coffees.
Yeah. And our wine/juice. All right. Okay. Awesome. Simona, thank you very much. Take care, guys. Enjoy. Have a good one. And see you the next time. All right. Bye.
See you next time.